Courtney Hadwin was born on May 6, 2004, in Heselden, a quiet village nestled in County Durham, England. From the very beginning, music was woven into the fabric of her childhood. Her parents, Anne-Marie and Paul Hadwin, were hard-working people who made it a point to nurture their daughter's natural passion for music. Her mother played songs from a wide range of established artists around the house, and little Courtney absorbed every note. By the age of 3, she was already dancing with her hands raised in the air whenever music filled the room, bringing immeasurable joy to her parents, who loved watching her tiny performances in their living room. When she turned 8, her school introduced her to formal singing lessons, and her music teacher quickly noticed something extraordinary, an angelic tone and a depth of voice that most adults never develop. Encouraged to join the school choir, Courtney threw herself into weekly rehearsals with enthusiasm. Performing alongside her classmates at school assemblies gave her a growing sense of confidence and pride. Her schoolmates affectionately nicknamed her "Rocker Girl," after watching her sing and dance simultaneously with a fearlessness that left everyone around her inspired. Courtney never treated her gift casually. She was deeply committed to her art, never missing a music lesson and spending her early mornings practicing vocal scales in front of her bedroom mirror. She even began writing her own lyrics at that young age, showing a maturity and seriousness about music that went far beyond what most children her age could imagine. At 10, she took things a step further by forming a neighborhood singing group called Durham Soul. The children's parents rallied behind them, contributing money toward guitars and drums. Small crowds gathered in the neighborhood to watch and sing along, and a local newspaper reporter eventually took notice, writing a short feature about a young singer with an exceptional voice. The headline read, "A Young Girl Brings Soul to County Durham." That article made her parents proud and gave Courtney something powerful, the belief that her voice truly mattered. Seeking professional development, Courtney enrolled at Shotton Hall Theatre School, where her mother, Anne-Marie, drove her every weekend without fail. There, a dedicated music teacher worked with her on phrasing, control, and the art of expressing emotion through sound. Her first real public stage was at a festival in Durham City, where thousands of people gathered. Though nervous at first, she found her focus quickly, and when she sang her final note, the crowd erupted in applause. Even strangers who did not know her name cheered, moved by the sheer power of her voice. Friends and classmates began requesting her presence at birthday parties and local events, and each small performance taught her something new about connecting with an audience through music. By the time she was 12, her dreams had grown far bigger than Heselden could contain. She began saving her pocket money to help her parents cover the cost of plane tickets, writing her goals down late at night, daring to imagine a larger world. In the summer of 2018, that larger world arrived. 13-year-old Courtney Hadwin stepped off a plane in Omaha, Nebraska, carrying a small suitcase, a leather jacket, and an iron determination. She had never set foot in the United States before, and the enormity of what she was attempting was not lost on her. She had come to audition for America's Got Talent, one of the most watched talent competitions on the planet. On the morning of her audition, she arrived at the CenturyLink Center with excitement and nerves buzzing in equal measure. Backstage, hopeful singers and dancers practiced in clusters. Courtney clutched her fedora hat in one hand and her audition form in the other, breathing slowly to steady herself. When the producers called her name and led her through a narrow hallway onto the stage, she walked into the glare of the bright lights and faced the judges' table, where Simon Cowell, Heidi Klum, Howie Mandel, and Mel B sat watching. Silence spread through the hall as the opening chords of "Piece of My Heart" began to play. At first, her voice came out soft and tentative. Then something shifted. She closed her eyes, felt the beat deep in her chest, and let her true power burst forth. Her tone cracked with longing and raw strength. She stomped her foot in rhythm, moved her body with a seasoned confidence that belied her age, and poured every ounce of feeling into every note. Simon Cowell leaned forward with his eyebrows raised. Heidi Klum sat upright, eyes wide. Howie Mandel covered his mouth in disbelief, and Mel B tapped the table, hungry for more. When the final chord rang out, the entire theater exploded. The judges stood and applauded. In a remarkable moment, Simon pressed his golden buzzer, sending a cascade of golden confetti raining down on the stage. Courtney opened her eyes and saw Simon smiling. She glanced at the judges, then backstage at her mother, who was weeping tears of joy. With a microphone pressed to her lips for a short interview, she said simply, "I love to sing. It makes me feel free." Those words, unscripted and pure, touched viewers as deeply as her performance had. By that same night, her audition clip was spreading across social media. By morning, it had surpassed 10 million views on YouTube. News outlets from the New York Times to the BBC published articles hailing her as the voice of a teen Janis Joplin. Back home in Heselden, newspapers ran front-page features describing how this girl from County Durham had taken America by storm. The world had discovered Courtney Hadwin, and nothing would ever be quite the same. As the live shows began, Courtney was no longer simply a contestant, she was a phenomenon. She arrived in Los Angeles under special chaperone arrangements, balancing online schoolwork with rigorous daily rehearsals on the America's Got Talent soundstage. She woke early every morning to warm up her voice with scales, stretching her chest and shoulders to support every note. Her vocal coach guided her carefully on timing and breath control, and the production crew marveled at her focus. One crew member noted that she handled every new challenge with maturity well beyond her 13 years. For her live show performance, she chose to sing "Maybe" by Janis Joplin, standing on a stage framed by glowing arches and deep red lighting. The crowd rose to its feet midway through the song, cheering so loudly the arena shook. When she finished, confetti cannons burst and streamers rained down as cheers echoed for minutes. Her name appeared on music charts, fan sites, and trending topics worldwide. Talk shows came calling immediately. On the Ellen DeGeneres show, Ellen gave her a warm hug and the two laughed together as Ellen attempted to match Courtney's gravelly tone. On The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy surprised her with a live drumbeat as she sang a blues classic, and afterward, he and Questlove praised her voice control and passion with genuine admiration. Through it all, Courtney remained grounded. She kept her mother's words close to her heart, "Sing to share joy, not for fame," and after every interview, she called home to stay connected to the people who mattered most. She kept a private journal, writing short entries like, "Today, I sang for millions. Tomorrow, I will sing with my heart because I enjoyed it." Record labels sent offers. Merchandise companies came knocking. But the girl from Heselden never lost sight of why she sang in the first place. Then, in early October 2018, a single night changed everything. Courtney had joined a small touring group of America's Got Talent finalists, traveling by bus from Minneapolis toward Madison, Wisconsin. Late one evening, as heavy rain hammered the highway, the bus approached a curve on Interstate 94. A sudden gust of wind pushed the vehicle toward the guardrail. The driver braked hard but could not regain full control. The bus skidded sideways for nearly 20 feet before coming to a shuddering halt against the barrier. Inside the bus, overhead cabinets burst open and instrument cases slid from their stowed positions. Courtney was thrown forward in her seat, striking her forehead on the luggage rack. When the chaos settled and an eerie silence replaced the noise, she unfastened her seatbelt and stood slowly. Her right knee throbbed sharply, and blood trickled down her temple. Fellow musicians around her were shaken but conscious. Within minutes, first responders arrived, 2 ambulances, a fire truck, and a highway patrol cruiser. Paramedics assessed each passenger with calm efficiency. A paramedic confirmed that Courtney had fractured her right kneecap. Another cleaned the cut on her forehead. She was transported to St. Mary's Hospital in Madison, where doctors also diagnosed a mild concussion. No surgery was required, but she would need 6 weeks of limited movement and physical therapy. News of the crash spread quickly. Social media filled with messages of concern and well wishes. Fellow contestants sent relief videos, and judges Simon Cowell and Heidi Klum recorded personal get-well messages. A GoFundMe page set up by a friend raised $32,000 in under 48 hours to help cover travel and therapy costs. Tour dates were cancelled, and theater managers processed refunds across Wisconsin and Illinois. Many fans chose to donate their refunded ticket money directly to Courtney's recovery fund. After 2 days in hospital, Courtney flew back to England under medical supervision. Her parents met her at the airport and helped her through customs and into the car. Back home in County Durham, she began physical therapy at a small clinic near Heselden, working through gentle exercises, light stretches, balance drills, and strengthening routines, session by session. Concussion guidelines limited her screen time, so she spent her quieter hours writing. In the garden shed behind her house, which her family had converted into a small recording studio, she hummed softly to keep her voice in shape. She wrote lyrics about resilience and hope, comparing the pattern of raindrops on a window to the rhythm of a song waiting to be heard. Those pages became a record of her healing. By late November, doctors cleared her for light singing. She stood in the garden shed without her crutches for the first time, took a deep breath, and sang a few scales. Her voice held. A wave of joy flooded through her. She recorded a short video of her practice and uploaded it to her channel, and comments poured in from fans who heard something new, a depth and warmth in her tone that had not been there before. In early December, she was invited to perform at a charity benefit in Newcastle City Hall, an event raising funds for young musicians dealing with injuries. She walked onto that stage in a green dress, her knee brace hidden beneath the hem, and opened with a soft ballad written from the lyrics she had composed during her recovery. The song built slowly, gathering strength with each verse, until she lifted her voice in a soaring, triumphant finish. The crowd rose to their feet. By early 2019, Courtney had returned fully to the spotlight. She joined the Stars for Hope benefit tour and performed at Chicago's Rosemont Theater, where she opened with "Piece of My Heart" to a standing ovation before the first chorus was even finished. She participated in Girls of Soul, a concert at London's Jazz Café celebrating female voices in music. In spring of that year, she recorded an extended play at a studio in Newcastle, co-writing 2 original songs and recording covers of Aretha Franklin's "Respect" and Etta James's "At Last." The EP was released on Spotify and Apple Music to warm reviews from music blogs and radio stations across the world. But perhaps what defined Courtney most in those months was not the recording or the performances, it was the giving back. She led a masterclass for budding singers at a local theater in County Durham, teaching microphone technique and breath support to over 50 students. She told them, "Your voice is your story. Sing it true." She also launched a small scholarship fund in her hometown, partnering with her first vocal coach to provide 2 annual grants covering 6 months of singing lessons each. The first recipients were a pair of sisters aged 10 and 12, who at their first recital dedicated their song to Courtney as she watched from the front row with tears in her eyes.